Yeah, people of God, yeah, welcome to this video. I'm super happy to have you here with me. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. So in this video, my focus is to actually explain to you how you can study in Austria without IELTS. Yes, IELTS, quite popular, and many people do not know much about it, but they know that you need it to prove your English proficiency to be able to have international procedures like admissions, jobs, and many other things like that. But in this video, I will be giving you a breakdown of what English proficiency is and ways in which you can actually prove your English proficiency, how IELTS comes in, alternatives to IELTS, and other options that you can use to actually prove your English proficiency even without tests of English proficiencies. So that is what this video is all about. We have a special focus in Austria in this video. So sit back and enjoy the video. So Austria is a country in Central Europe, a very big country, not so big, but quite influential in Austria. Not so highly populated, but it's averagely populated, and it's one of the strongest country in Europe, one of the decision-making countries in Europe. So it's a very powerful country, and it shares border with Germany. So one can actually conclude that the people in Germany and those in Austria have the same this like they are from the same origin. So they both speak German as their official language. But despite all that, there are a lot of universities in Austria that actually teaches and examine their students in English language. So basically they run several courses in English language. Yes, most of their courses are in German, but if you search very, very well, you will see a lot of courses that are taught in English language. So for them to actually admit you into these courses, you must be able to prove to them that you can actually speak good English, because they don't want you to come and create nuisance in the environment. That is why they must ensure they can actually speak good English, and that is where proving your English proficiency comes into play. And many schools, many universities, and higher institutions have different approaches to getting this done, and that is what this video is going to break down for you. So like I have said before, IELTS is just one of the many ways in which you can actually prove your English proficiency. In fact, it is even like an example of one of the ways you can use. There are several ways you can use. There are a lot of alternatives to IELTS. So essentially, um the the IELTS is like an international English language test system, which different countries uses to actually assess the ability of a candidate or an applicant of a particular procedure, admission, or job to speak English. So they have different ways of grading it, and once you are able to pass it, you are satisfied to be able to speak English. And when the result is out, this result actually expires within 2 years, and that's another big problem for many people, because this exam is not cheap. So imagine spending a lot of money, and if you are unable to make do with what you want, it expires. So now, like I have said, there are various ways in which universities in Austria assess their students, and that is what I will first speak about in this video. The very, very first number one is the tests of English language. There are different tests. IELTS is one of them. There's also TOEIC, TOEIC, TOEIC. There is also TOEFL. There is PTE. There is Duolingo, and many of them like that. Even Cambridge Proficiency English Test, and many of them like that that you can actually do to be able to prove your English proficiency. So, but all these are just examination methods that you can use. Another method that people are using is previous studies in English. Now, when you apply to a particular university and they found out that your degree was actually issued in a country where English is the official language and that your course was taught and assessed in English, you will automatically qualify for the English proficiency. You understand what I'm saying? In some cases, they will tell you to get a English proficiency certificate from your university, proving that you were actually taught in English and that the English you were able to speak is standard enough to be able to compete at any way. They usually classify it as the CEFA, the CEFA levels. Yes, CEFA level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, stuff like that. They categorize it in different levels. I have to get what I'm saying there. So now, once you're able to actually issue that certificate for them, you will be termed as um, English proficient. And this does not involve IELTS. All those alternatives that I explained to you, you can actually use them. One of the major problems that people have with IELTS is the fact that it is very expensive. Like right now, IELTS is close to about $200 or $200 plus. That's a lot of money in some countries. There are alternatives. For example, PTE, Piazza Test of English. That test of English right now costs about $16. That's about one third, or even lesser than one third, of the cost of IELTS. How can you get that? That makes this a very, very, very great option. So you don't necessarily have to do IELTS. You can consider alternatives that are cheaper, but you first have to confirm on the website of the school you're applying to if they accept alternatives to that particular to alternatives to IELTS. I have to get what I'm saying there. Very, very important. So, and one other alternative you can consider, like I said, is Pearson Test of English or Duolingo. Duolingo is also very, very cheap, and some university in Austria accepts it. That makes it about uh, two ways that I have explained that are alternatives that you can use. Three ways, let's say three ways that you can use. Let me do a recap for you. Your previous studies in English language, when they see, they won't even ask any question again. The second way is you getting your English proficiency certificate. That makes it two. The third way is to get alternatives to IELTS, cheaper alternatives you can actually do and afford and be able to use them to apply for your examination. So now, in this next section, I'll be talking about some universities in Austria that are actually flexible in their English proficiency requirements. Because there are some schools that will tell you that what they want is only IELTS and IELTS, and if they don't IELTS, they will not accept it. That's their own policy. But there are some other schools that they have a lot of ways in which they assess the English proficiency of the students. And if you're able to meet one of those methods, you will be termed and as English proficient. Now let's talk about the list. Let's about 8 universities here that you can have flexible English proficiency requirements. Number one is the University of Vienna. University of Vienna, they accept IELTS, and they also accept a lot of alternatives to IELTS. Not only that, they accept institutional certificate. That is a certificate that proves that your first degree or your previous degree was actually done in English and that you are qualified to study in English language anywhere in the world. They accept PTE, they accept TOEFL, they accept a lot of other alternatives that can also be used for English proficiency testing. Then the next university here is Technical University of Vienna. This university is very, very popular for their technical studies and engineering programs. And there are various ways you can actually use to also demonstrate English proficiency to this school. You can use IELTS, you can use alternatives like the PTE, the Cambridge Proficiency English Test, and many more like that. Like I forgot to state that one other way that university use to actually help their students English proficiency is to coordinate English language courses after they have issued admission to those students. Yes, there are some universities in Austria that after they give you admission, they will first, once they notice that maybe your English is not so proficient, they will tell you to first do an English language course for 1 year. After that 1 year, you will now be able to start your course proper, the reason why you came to the university. But for the first 1 year, you will be introduced to an English course where you will be able to study English language proper and then be able to start your program. Okay, that's another very good. That makes about 4 or 5 ways that I've actually explained in this video. So now we have mentioned two universities. Let's go to the third university. The university on my list is University of Salzburg. University of Salzburg is a very, very big university. They also accept institutional certificates. They accept alternatives to IELTS, and you can also use a lot of other test results, like I have explained, and they accept institutional certificates. And if your previous study is also conducted in English, they also recognize that as well. But they will need you to certify it with an institutional certificate that your previous degree was actually conducted in English language. So the next university on my list is Graz University of Technology. They accept institutional um, certificates of English, institutional language proficiency certificate that proves that your previous degree was actually done in English language. They are also accept IELTS as well. All the schools I have mentioned since all of them accept IELTS. LTS. The next school on my list is Johann Kepler University, Linz. They accept IELTS, they accept TOEFL, they accept PTE, they accept Cambridge Proficiency English Test, they accept TOEIC, and many other alternatives like that. They also accept institutional certificates. If you have the institutional certificate, they accept it. So you can use that as a, so you don't necessarily have to be waiting for high IELTS alone. There are other alternatives you can use. So another alternative that I have not mentioned is that you can send an email to the university directly. Mail them, tell them your background, how your course of studies, everything that you have, put it there, your transcript, your certificate, your qualifications, put everything there. Tell them where you studied and how your country is English proficient, or how the legal how your country is English, and tell them, ask them if you will still need to prove your English proficiency in this kind of situation. A situation whereby we emails are sent like that, and the got result that the response that they don't need to prove their English proficiency because their previous study was done in English. In such cases, they might just encourage them to get a certificate of English proficiency from their university, and that can serve the purpose of English proficiency for such candidates. John Skepler University is a very, very good university that is quite easy to apply to. You don't have difficult requirements, and you can check it out. I recommend that university for you. There are a lot of universities that are so good in Austria, and their tuition are not cheap, are not expensive. On the average, they're teaching around less than 800 euro, which you pay per semester, and that's quite reasonable. Let's move to the next university, which is Vienna University of Economics, Vienna and Business. Vienna University of Economics and Business, very, very good university. They accept other English language certificates, and they also coordinate English support for their students who come into their university. The next one on my list is Alpenalder University, Klagenfurt. University has a very wide range of courses, and they accept previous studies in English. If you already done a previous studies in English, they will term you as qualified for the English language proficiency, and then they accept alternate certificates from the universities. Or if you have English proficiency test results like IELTS, TOEFL, TOEIC, PTE, they equally accept those ones as well. And the next one on my list, which is going to be the last university mentioned in this video, is the Medical University of Vienna. In this university, IELTS is not mandatory. You can use alternatives that are available. And then other recognized tests are also acceptable, like I have said. And then your qualification. If you already have the bachelor's degree, for example, coordinated in English language, you will be termed as English proficient. I've also spoken about the email method, emailing the university to find out if you need an English proficiency test or not, or if you are already English proficient in your qualification based on your antecedents and stuff like that. So that is it in this video. Let me just do a small recap for you in this video. Various ways your previous studies in English, then some university will just term you automatically as English proficient. Some other university will go for that by asking you to get a certificate of English proficiency from that your university, and once you present it, you become as English proficient. Some school coordinate professional English courses for their students. If they notice that students have some good English but not so good enough for studies, they can coordinate that to help their students. That makes it three ways I've mentioned. And then the other ways available is alternative English language tests that are not IELTS, that are even cheaper than IELTS. And I give an example of PTE. I give you Cambridge Proficiency English Test. I give you TOEFL. I give you TOEIC, and I give you many more like that. So, and I also spoke about that makes about four ways. I also spoke about the sending email to the university to find out if you will be needing an English proficiency procedure test or not. So that will be all in this video. I thank you so much for watching this video. I'm super happy that you stayed to the end of this video, and those of you subscribing, thank you very much for subscribing. Every subscription I'm saying is a very big encouragement. This is a this is a big journey that we are here together to encourage ourselves. Don't be tired, keep moving. As long as you are moving, you're going to get to where you are going. Don't be scared, don't be tired, don't be frustrated. Keep moving, focus, and you get to where you are going. Thank you so much for watching this video. I wish you God's favor in your application. Bye for now.